Garmlings, I saw an atrocious tweet the other day. French org Gentle Mates are reportedly interested in entering CS2. They are interested in Gravity, Exorcise, and Lucky from 3D Max, as well as Siuhy and Ash. Now, seeing this made me incredibly sad, but it also reminded me that we've got a couple dudes just chilling on the bench right now doing jack, just picking they nose, eating they boogers, not doing anything. So I thought I would talk about them and make some very high IQ predictions on where they'll end up. But I'm not going to start with Siuhy because fuck you. To start us off, we've got Perfecto, who is sitting on the bench of an org that doesn't even have a team anymore. And he's been on this bench for so long, he has not played with a salaried org since 4/20 of 2024, nearly a full year ago. So why is this major winner getting left out to dry, you might ask? Apparently just nobody wants him, at least not right now. But he is starting a campaign arc, as I was recently reminded of his existence due to a clip of him being posted on Twitter where he hit some sick USP shots in a save. Cool. Another campaign trick he's trying is frying the absolute shit out of people in open qualifiers in local lands. He most recently took first place at a PGL Bucharest open qualifier, not dropping a map and posting a 1.37. At the very least, this campaign trick is absolutely working on me. Let's get this guy into a team, eh? The first option is, what if he's already found his team? I know it wouldn't be very exciting, but hear me out. The stack he played with at the open qualifier was him, Artfrost, Yekindar, Alpha, and Nafany. Not the sexiest team, but they could certainly do something. Perfecto and Artfrost both have very high ceilings. Alpha is young, and while his last stint on Paravision wasn't great, he still has potential. Nafany is, I'm just gonna go out and say it, he can't frag, he can't call, he gets mad at his teammates, but at the end of the day, you can certainly do worse. And a Yekindar redemption arc would be moi, but at this point, he's more name value than anything else. If this team actually makes it through the close qualifier and does any work at a tier 1 tournament, I wouldn't be surprised if some org comes and scoops them up, might buy Perfecto out, or maybe just wait till his contract ends. I'm not sure how long it is. But at the same time, here's why this won't happen. Look at this fucking closed qualifier, man. Good luck making it out of this, especially with teams like this in attendance. Secondly, if I have to see Perfecto play with Nafany, I will blow my brains out. This is most definitely just because he wants to compete while waiting for real offers to come in. Hey guys, it's me, Garmour. I'm having a pretty rough day, man. My wife just got hit by a semi-truck. My fat idiot son just put my life savings on black. It was red. I just found out I have type 3 diabetes. I really don't know how it's gonna get any better. What's this? I can upgrade my knife today? Holy mama! That's more like it. Thank God for Skinswap! Not only did I just get that shiny new knife, but if you head over to Skinswap today, you can get a free item using my code, Garmour. Skinswap is a top-of-the-line marketplace offering competitive rates on Counter-Strike and Rust skins. And with their massive inventory, I'm sure you'll be able to find exactly what you want. Not only that, but if you use my link in the description, you'll get a 40% deposit bonus. Or if you're looking to get out of the skins market, they have an incredibly fast and easy selling feature with a ton of different payout methods. You can sign up for Skinswap with the link in the description. Thank you to them for sponsoring this video. So what real options does Perfecto have at the higher level? Spirit, FaZe, Falcons, VP, Bet Boom, and Harry Vision. Let's start with Spirit. On paper, I would say he actually is an upgrade to Zontix, but I just truly do not see this happening. I mean, with how much success Spirit have had recently, winning the major, multiple tier 1 tournaments, and with Zontix being so young, I just don't see them making a risky move like this. Next is FaZe. I know it sounds crazy, but to me, FaZe kind of seems like a team running on fumes. I think 2024 might have completely mentally shattered Kerrigan. Brokey is a husk of his former self. Alige and Frozen are good. Rain is rain, but something just feels off and I can't really explain it. I feel like they're on the brink of a complete rebuild, but their major runs in 2024 just convinced them to keep going for a little bit longer. Although if this team doesn't really have any success in the first half of this year and doesn't make the playoffs in Austin, I feel like we could see that rebuild actually come through. And one of the new pieces absolutely could be Perfecto. I mean, this is just what FaZe does. Throughout their tenure in Counter-Strike, they have consistently signed great players after they've been insane on other teams. Coldzera, Olaf, Guardian, Robs, Frozen, and now Elige. I could totally see Perfecto joining this list. The next option is Falcons, where he would end up replacing Magisk. They share a lot of similar T-side lurk roles and some CT anchor roles, and although it may make some sense, this Falcons project just started. If Magisk survived that first horrendous team, I doubt they give up on him now. The most likely options that I see are VP, Betboom, and Paravision. While he did say he was willing to play in an international team, it really didn't seem like it would be his first choice. If he were to join VP, he'd most likely be replacing Fame, as they share the most similar roles. Now, for me personally, you guys, listen, you guys know how I rocked. I've been rolling with this VP roster, Fame included, but at least on paper, it seems like Perfecto would probably be an upgrade. When you look at Fame's numbers since this new roster formed, he's been fine, putting up a 1 rating, which lands him just right in the middle of the pack. So not really an issue with the team by any means. I would say his biggest problem is just inconsistency. When he's on and playing well, he genuinely can take over an entire map. It just rarely happens. So the question really comes down to, do we think Perfecto can come into VP a year removed from playing professional CS and be more consistent than Fame? To be honest, I lean towards yes, but it's definitely a tough call. Would he want to play with Electronic IGLing again? Would VP be willing to take a risk like this only for maybe marginal improvement? Who's to say? Next is Betboom. 2 of his previous teammates, Boomich and Axile, are playing with this team, and they've looked fairly solid to start 2025. They're also a gambling org who should have the money to buy him out if they choose. And if they did, he'd most likely replace Siren on the team, who has been fine, but nothing really that special. You can definitely upgrade at the position, and I think Perfecto over Siren is a much more obvious upgrade to Perfecto over Fame, and Betboom have shown they're not afraid to make moves. And lastly is Paravision, who have actually looked quite strong in the tier 2 scene. Most likely he'd be replacing Travis on the roster. Now this would be a cool pairing of previous major winners, the VP trio of Kickert, Jame, and Coach Dastan with major winner Perfecto. The real questions are, would Perfecto want to join a team ranked this low? And if they even would have the money to buy him out? If I had to guess where Perfecto's going, my money's on Betboom. I don't think there was any bad blood between him and his previous teammates. They should have the money for it, and it's the clearest upgrade on paper for all of the teams I listed. Betboom's current ranking is number 29. They're right on the cusp of getting tier 1 tournament invites, and through their online games so far, they look good, but they can certainly improve. This move should slightly improve the firepower of the team and hopefully catapult them into doing some damage on the tier 1 level. Oh, Siuhy. Your team wins a tournament immediately after kicking you. Maybe the equivalent of your ex finding someone taller, more jacked, tattoos, smarter, makes more money than you. But are they a crippling heroin addict? We'll have to wait and see if Mouse are. It looks good at first, but will it really be? Now, we can't talk about Siuhy without bringing up the rumor. It's why I made this whole video. Siuhy to gentle mates? Who are you people? What gentle mates? So they would need an opper. It would be Siuhy, Calling, Lucky, Exorcise, and Gravity. Now, this would be an act of terrorism for multiple reasons. Siuhy, in my opinion, has done enough to warrant playing for a top 10 team. Seeing him play with the 3D Max core, while they've been decent, would cause me to completely combust. Next, I love Gamer Legion. Why, Ash? Why would you do this to me? Gamer Legion is one of the most exciting young teams in the scene. I love watching them. I love watching them improve. And to start 2025, they've looked fucking phenomenal. I love them. I love them dearly. And you are a huge reason for their success. I'm worried if you left, the team would start to crumble a little bit. Please don't leave them. And lastly, this might be a bit harsh. The 3D Max core, in my opinion, is nothing without Maka. I put 95% of the team's success on him. And while Siuhy is another great IGL that could elevate these players. I just don't get excited seeing him on a team with this firepower. If this ended up materializing, I would just be completely devastated. The only good news is that Ash and Siuhy together again would probably do incredible work no matter what their roster is. I get signing the core so you can have an immediate spot in the top 20, but leaving Maka out to dry seems insane to me. Don't kill 3D Max and Gamer Legion, please, I'm begging. Now it sounds like nothing is set in stone, and this motherfucker better be baiting for likes on Twitter. So there is still hope. In a perfect world, Siuhy would join G2, FaZe, or Liquid. Here's my G2 take. They'll absolutely give snacks until at least Austin, at the very least, and see how the team looks. If they consistently disappoint, I could see him pulling the trigger, but if G2 does literally anything over the next few months, this move ain't happening. We all know how G2 works, man. Now, having to do with FaZe, I think the big FaZe rebuild that I'm predicting will be the end of Kerrigan's tenure with the team. One of the best IGLs of all time, but everyone has their limit. Siuhy would be an immaculate replacement. And lastly, Liquid. This is genuinely not up to the org. It doesn't matter if they want him or not. If Twist wants to give up IGL reigns and wanted Siuhy, I just like calling him Siuhy. Siuhy. Why would I call him that? Siuhy. If Twist wanted to give up the IGL reigns and was okay playing with Siuhy, they'll get him. If not, they won't. And to be honest with you, I don't think he wants to give up the IGL reigns quite yet. So that leaves us with G2 and FaZe. I think G2 will make some tier 1 playoffs in the next few months, causing G2 to keep snacks for a little longer. So that leaves us with one team left, and that's FaZe. It seems that was Siuhy's destiny from the very beginning, and I predict he'll join after Austin. Maden was loaned to Heroic to be a sub, played one series with the team due to one of the players having visa issues, and since has played a little bit with a Partisan roster, but for the most part, has been rotting on Falcon's bench. I think we got to be a little more critical with this one. Maden's best days might be behind him. He was fine on Falcons, which, to be fair, is saying something considering how much of a dumpster fire the team was. But at the end of the day, he's a 26-year-old mediocre rifler. That's not really enticing to tier 1 teams. But I am sure there are many tier 2 teams that would love to have him. Recently, he played in CCT with the aforementioned Partisan roster and played fairly well in both series, so he can still compete at least at the tier 2 level. So let's see who some of his options might be. BC Game, fairly successful retirement home, maybe he could go there. Fnatic, back to Ent, maybe. OG and Monty. Oh god, not perfect options, so I'm just gonna be honest. BC Game, maybe. It seems like he would fit in there, to be honest. Fnatic, I don't really see that. They don't need another Gramps on the team. Ents, I really can't see that as well. They're two experienced players in Glaive and SDY. Probably aren't moving, and I don't see them getting rid of their 3 young pieces either. But I really don't mind the OG option. I think they would actually benefit quite a bit from having an experienced player like him. They have a young Caller and Chrisen, who I do like, and some solid riflers. For the first time in a long time for OG, they have pieces to build on. They are currently looking for an opper, so why not at the same time replace someone like Fiku for Maden? If you bring in a great opper and some of the experience that Maden has, I feel like this team could make a huge jump. Maden and Fiku have quite a few role overlaps, and I think he might just be a firepower upgrade at the end of the day, along with a ton of experience that no one else on the team really has. Fiku is the longest tenured OG player, and by quite a bit, but if they want to be a serious team, I really don't think you pass this up. And after that, Monty, they've been an incredibly strange team for a while now, and with how many players and rosters they've been through in just the past year, I don't think Maden would want to play here, but I guess it could be a possibility. But to be honest with you, I'm not really going to entertain this. I don't want to see him go to Monty. So that leaves us with BC Game and OG. Well, probably, because there is another path that Maden could take. Let's look at another EU player who got left out to dry recently. Bro, he went and joined an NA team to try and improve his image again, and my god, does it look to be working. And I mean, what's stopping Maden from doing the same thing? This leaves us with kind of 2 options in Complexity and Wildcard. Having to do with Complexity, it's fairly normal to see NA teams start to pick up EU talent when things start going wrong. Look at Cloud9 after their major team collapsed. Look at Liquid with Patsy and Rainwaker, along with Yekindar. I mean, Complexity even had an EU super team a couple years ago. Well, super team. Would they be willing to do the same thing now? Personally, I doubt it. It seems like Jason Lake wants to be the savior of NA, and were they to replace one of the NA players with Maden, they would be in the same shoes as Wildcard, where they're kind of split half and half. But thanks to the Drillas and the recent Valve update, in Valve's eyes, they would just be an EU team and have to participate in the EU MRQ. Now, Wildcard, on the other hand, don't really seem to have an issue with this, as they will be participating in the EU MRQ unless they make a roster move or drastically improve their world ranking. And it seems they're committed to Stan, JBA, and Sonic, as they have all signed contract extensions. So I wouldn't be surprised if they moved from Susp or Fuzi to get a spot in the NA MRQ. This makes the odds of them signing Maden quite low. So if I had to guess where he goes, I think I like his fit in OG the most. I think they need some experience on that roster. And Fiku has been good in his tenure on the team. I don't think he's been bad. I personally just think Maden would be better. Our glorious king! Beautiful goat. In my mind, simple as 4 options. Rejoins Navi's lineup, joins FaZe, joins G2, or retires. Now, I hate to say this. I feel like simple is being slightly overrated by the community. I'm gonna do something that's gonna make a lot of people very upset. When you compare him with Wonderful, who was just the 11th best player of 2024, he's significantly worse. Before you go wild in the comments, I understand this is only a rating comparison, okay? It doesn't account for Wonderful falling off in big moments. He missed shots, playoff chokes. I get it, okay? But we can't also just act like Wonderful is some dog shit player. And we can't assume Simple is going to be even close to his peak. So from Navi's perspective, would taking a risk like this make sense? I think no, and I'm sure the org feels the same way. Now, if all of the players like Wonderful and want him in the team, there's just no chance. The only way I could see this possibly going through is if there are issues within the team, people don't like Wonderful, they want him replaced. I don't know, man. While putting Prime Simple on paper into this strong Navi team seems insane, realistically, I don't think that's what's gonna happen. So that leaves us with FaZe and G2, adding a previously incredible player that's just past their prime, right up FaZe's alley. We talked about this with Perfecto, but I think it fits Simple even more. When FaZe undergo their rebuild that I'm talking about, I expect Brokey to be shipped off, which would open the door for Simple. Now, I understand how this sounds as well. I just defended Wonderful by saying he placed 11th in 2024, while Brokey placed above him in 8th, but that ranking was almost entirely based off his early year performance. He has not been that same player for a while. Along with this, FaZe are known as the most entertaining team in Counter-Strike. Signing the most famous player in Counter-Strike history would surely help with this. And lastly, G2. This is mostly speculation that m0NESY is probably gone after his contract runs out. Of course, you never know for sure, but if he does, I think this would be a good replacement. At the very least, it would keep G2 somewhat interesting. And lastly, he could just simply retire. This option is a double-edged sword, because of course it would be sad if he retired this early in his career, but would you rather have him retire now and the community fondly remembers him as the greatest player of all time while he streams to 80,000 viewers on Twitch, or try to come back and be a husk of what he once was, slowly regressing every year? Shroud arc or the Fallen arc? Which is better? But then again, what if he does come back and returns to form? My God, would that ever be fun to watch? Out of all these options, the one that I think is most likely and that I personally like the most is Simple to FaZe. He said that he has a desire to come back and play, and I believe him. Along with this, the timing should work out pretty well with the FaZe rebuild. So the FaZe rebuild would include the addition of Siuhy and the addition of Simple. Simple would reunite with his former Liquid teammate Elige, and the roster would be Siuhy, Rain, Elige, Frozen, and Simple. Good? We would have to see. Entertaining? Oh, I'm sure of it. Djoko is the most recent of all these players to get benched, and if I had to guess, he's going to be the first one to get picked up by another team. I mean, he might be on a tier 2 team by the time I post this video, so I'll make this one quick. Djoko will be joining Gen 1. Give it up, guys. This is simply too obvious to overlook. They're the second best team in France, currently ranked number 104 in the world on Valve rankings. He can go play with Goats, Jax, and Devo Duvek. Enjoy tier 5, my boy. And last but not least, Cutie Patootie Yekindar. Like I said earlier in the video, he most recently played on a pug team with Perfecto, and I'm gonna be honest here, I think his time in tier 1 is done. And even worse, I'm not sure many tier 2 teams want to throw him offers either. His situation out of all these players is easily the most dire. And if I had to guess what happens to him, I'd lean towards the first option I listed with Perfecto. He might just be playing with his pug team for a while. I really don't see him getting signed to a roster for the rest of 2025, especially if he has to get bought out. But I could see him following Nafany and Artfrost for a while, playing on this pug team with them, trying to find success in open quals and local lands. Hey, and maybe if they do, an org will eventually pick the core up. My answer for Yekindar is the couch. Guys, what do we think about this, huh? I feel like I should be made a GM. I don't know. It's just how I feel. Listen, someone needs some help. A tier 2 NA team, Blue Jays, call me. Complexity, I'm right here, baby.